Hello, my name is Joseph Arnold, and today I'd like to talk to you about those times when you're doing your art or your music or your dance or whatever it is that you do begins to feel like checking off the boxes, or it feels like a chore, or kind of a drag, or it just feels empty and hollow somehow. And this experience is so common, especially for those of us in some kind of school, or often in a professional arts group of some kind. It's so common, and yet it stands in such stark contrast to that little voice inside that says it's not supposed to be this way. That says that music and art and all these things are meant to be a celebration of life, of connection. And so here we are. So many of us as artists hold these two things, experience these two things at the same time. This kind of dissonance between this experience of this thing that we love becoming a chore, becoming like checking off the boxes. So today I'd like to talk to you about my understanding of this experience, and maybe I'll offer you some insights that you could bring into your own artistic life. So first of all, my name is Joseph Arnold. I'm a violinist and Alexander technique teacher and the director of the Soulforce Arts Institute, and soon to be an author too. You can see some notes about all that in the description below. So what is this about? So again, this feeling of, or this situation of checking off the boxes, it stands in such stark contrast to, I'll just speak for myself, for what my heart knows, what music is about, or what the arts are about in general. And yet it's so ubiquitous. So often when I was in violin lessons, the teacher would be describing, okay, you do X, X, and X, and you put your fingers here, and you practice it 10 times, right? And so then practicing becomes this mechanical rote exercise of, okay, I did it 1 time, okay, I did it twice, I did it 3 times, okay, I did it 10 times, now I'm done. I must have done something, hopefully, that worked to help myself play this better. So in a way, it's like treating yourself like a machine, practicing in that way. As if music, or I'll just use music as an example, as if music was simply a collection of notes and techniques. Music is no more a collection of notes than a body is a collection of organs. You can go down to a hospital and find a collection of organs, or morgue, get a collection of organs, but that's not a real life person. There's something missing there, right? What's missing is a sense of wholeness. What's missing is a sense of aliveness. Now, the tricky thing about aliveness is that you can't write it down. You can't say more aliveness here in the sheet music. I mean, you could put that in there, but like, what do you do with that? It's not like forte or piano. It's not like, spin here or lift your arm or whatever. It's something else. So it's hard to talk about. It's hard to name. Everybody knows what it is. And yet, it's so infrequently taught, so infrequently highlighted, at least in many conventional arts education settings. And I think this is really to the detriment of us all. To me, aliveness is exactly what the arts are all about. What else are we doing? Why the hell else would you do this? If not to come more alive in yourself, and then to share that aliveness with others. Why would you go through all this trouble of learning this incredibly difficult thing? Unless there's something that good at the core of it all. And so, this thing inside of us, like that your heart probably knows so deeply and intuitively, gets sidelined. Gets sidelined in the way that we learn, in the way that we practice, the way that we teach, the way that we play professionally. Yeah, I mean, look at competitions. Music competitions. Such a silly thing. I mean, at one level, sure, I get it. It's fun to show off, and there is such a thing as having more richly developed technique and less richly developed technique. And yet, competitions don't get to the point of music or art or whatever. They don't. They're just about showing off. And yeah, so there's just countless examples of how this dissonance shows up. Yeah, the way that it shows up in making a living. My goodness. Is any amount of money enough for a genuine work of art? Maybe you could even flip that. Any amount of money is too much. Any amount of money is an insult to the gift of that aliveness. Money is the wrong sort of thing to exchange for aliveness. And yet, this is the system we live in. I mean, I'm not putting down making a living in the arts. I do this. I'm a violinist. And I make money with violin, teaching, and all that. But again, there's this dissonance, right? So what do you do? What do you do about this? How can you bring more aliveness into your life? First is actually not to try to do anything at all. First is simply to become aware of what's happening. You can do this by listening back to some of the examples that I just gave and reflecting on how these show up in your life. You can notice when you feel more alive or when you feel more dispirited and begin to get curious about those times. What's going on there? What just preceded this feeling? Even if you can't nail down the moment or name exactly what happened, notice it. Notice that aliveness. Notice that dispirited feeling. This by itself will begin to invite a change. You can also watch some of my other videos on playing from the heart. Playing from the heart is all about aliveness. It's all about how to infuse the technique of what you do with aliveness, so that it no longer feels like stringing together a bunch of techniques, so that it no longer feels like checking off the boxes, but it feels organic and whole and alive. And that's what playing from the heart is. Yeah, I'm noticing some feelings coming up. Yeah, some sadness and anger. Yeah, there's a part of me that has gotten kind of squashed living in this system. A sort of sensitive, vulnerable part of myself that has been so connected to this aliveness, and yet seeing how this aliveness has gotten sidelined or dismissed or ignored so many times, so consistently. That's been a real source of sadness, struggle, fear. Yeah, and I got some anger around that. It's just, I want to defend that aliveness. Yeah. That's partly what I'm doing here with this video. Speaking it aloud, sharing it with you. So maybe you and I can defend and celebrate this aliveness together, and make it more possible for other people, for their aliveness to be celebrated as well. And when you do that through your art, whether it's how you practice, you perform or teach, or create or produce, or whatever it is that you do, then you are spreading aliveness in the world. And that's exactly what we need. Like we're killing this earth. Humanity is killing this earth. We don't need more dead notes. We need more live notes. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all for now. Please do subscribe to this channel if you like this sort of stuff. And sign up for my email list at josepharnold.com, and soon that'll be soulforcearts.com. And yeah, if you do that, then you'll be among the first to learn about my upcoming book, Soulforce Arts, the vital role of musicians and other artists in a world that's lost its mind. The book all about this, how to turn this deadness around, turn the box checking around into genuine aliveness. Okay, I'll see you next time.